Good evening. Honorable Minister, kindly also allow me to adopt the protocol already established. Before I deliver my address this evening, I ask that we pause for a moment in memory of Kevin Masood Sadiqi Donovan, a visionary artiste and a proud citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. Thank you. I must begin by extending my sincere gratitude to the Honorable Nigel Carty for inviting me to share my thoughts on the theme that will guide your discussions over the next 2 days, OECS education, contributing to a deeper, stronger economic union. The first thing that struck me about this theme was an immediate recognition of the role of education in the transformation that is required within the OECS to confront the challenges we currently face. In fact, the root of the word educate can be traced to the Latin educare, which means to lead forth. Based on the discussions that permeate the regional airwaves, websites, and newspapers, there is indeed a call for the educators to lead us forth. The theme calls for discussions that will result in a system of education that leads to a deeper, stronger economic union. Strength and depth have many definitions, but if we are to examine these concepts in the context of education, then we are calling for a system of education within the OECS that must define strength as lending to the economic union a moral and intellectual power with great resources that is superior, forceful, and cogent. Further, depth must be defined as lending penetrating intellect that is characterized by profundity of feeling or quality. This is no easy task. This work is not easy work. But this is our work. Very often in the Caribbean, especially the current global recession Caribbean, we speak in terms of challenges and failures. Discussions on the education system within the Caribbean are often characterized by examples of ways in which the systems we have implemented have failed us. We speak of the challenges of the Common Entrance Exam, of the test of standards, of the CXC, of the tertiary level institutions, and of the universities. To the leaders in regional education who sit before me tonight, as a proud alumna of the Basse-Terre Junior High School, the Basse-Terre High School, and the University of the West Indies, I would like to compliment you on your success. On behalf of Caribbean people who, with the financial support of our regional governments, have sat the CXC examinations, the CAPE examinations, the certificate, associate, bachelor's, master's, and PhD level examinations. Thank you for your unwavering commitment to abiding by the 1948 Declaration of Human Rights and making education accessible to the people of this region. As you prepare to deliberate on the various issues that face us in the OECS, and how the education system can respond to them, I ask that you begin by recognizing your successes in the context of an economic union that is only 31 years old and is made up of 6 countries that gained their independence within the last 4 decades and 3 British overseas territories. I like to think that in our youth, we have accomplished quite a lot. As many institutions and ministries prepare for a new strategic planning period, I am reminded of one of many famous Confucius quotes. If you think in terms of a year, plant a seed. If in terms of 10 years, plant trees. If in terms of 100 years, teach the people. as we prepare to determine how best we should teach the people to ensure the lessons learned can sustain us for centuries to come, let us examine a couple of the philosophical underpinnings of modern Caribbean education. Most strategies that govern education in the Caribbean community are rooted in the concept of the ideal Caribbean person, as set out by the CARICOM heads of government in 1996. For those of us here tonight who are not familiar with the characteristics of the CARICOM ideal person, they are as follows. The ideal Caribbean person should be someone who, among other things, is imbued with a respect for human life, since it is the foundation on which all other desired values must rest, is emotionally secure with a high level of self-confidence and self-esteem, sees ethnic, religious, and other diversity as a source of potential strength and richness, is aware of living in harmony with the environment, has a strong appreciation of family and kinship values, community cohesion, and moral issues, including responsibility for and accountability to self and community, has an informed respect for the cultural heritage, demonstrates multiple literacies, independence and critical thinking, questions the beliefs and practices of past and present, and brings this to bear on the innovative application of science and technology to problem solving, demonstrates a positive work ethic, values and displays the creative imagination in its various manifestations, and nurtures its development in the economic and entrepreneurial spheres and in all other areas of life, has developed the capacity to create and take advantage of opportunities to control, improve, maintain and promote physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being, and to contribute to the health and welfare of the community and country. And finally, nourishes in him or herself and in others the fullest development of each person's potential without gender stereotyping, and embraces differences and similarities between females and males as a source of mutual strength. These characteristics are a clear example of our desire for perfection and our articulated commitment to working towards achieving it. If all schools within the OECS were successful in creating graduates with 80% of those characteristics, there would be no talk of emerging economic superpowers without mention of the ECCU. While we focus on the characteristics of the ideal person as a type of person we hope will emerge from our education system, especially in the context of lifelong learning, we must first examine the extent to which we as educators, as leaders, as adults possess these qualities. There is a commentary that was often aired on a local radio station which suggests that there can be no integrity in public life until there is integrity in private life. While I don't know that I agree with the concept in its entirety, it came to mind as I read the characteristics of the ideal Caribbean person. I would like to argue that we cannot expect those characteristics of our students if we don't possess them ourselves. I therefore urge each person in this room, especially those of you who will be participating in the discussions and debates that will create systems and policies designed to produce ideal Caribbean people, that we examine the extent to which we ourselves are ideal. As the ancient proverb posits, I hear and I forget. I see and I remember, and you all know the rest. I do and I understand. Many educational institutions and ministries in the OECS also have missions and themes that speak to the achievement of one's full potential. As we work towards that goal, we are all too aware that World Bank and other reports will tell us that our education system is not adequately preparing children for new skilled jobs, that this is partly because the secondary system has an overly strict focus on academic preparation for tertiary education, and that only 20 to 55% of secondary school leavers within the OECS continue on to post-secondary level at the regional tertiary level institutions. Despite the conclusion that a large reason for this is that the tertiary level institutions have not been developing at a commensurate rate with the secondary institutions, I would like to also suggest that we have not been effectively communicating to our students all of the options available to them to enable them to truly reach their full potential. In the true spirit of partnership, our students should be made aware of all of the options for higher education available to them in the OECS. They should not only think in terms of the local, state, or community college, but should also think in terms of courses on offer at all of the tertiary level institutions in the OECS. They should be made aware of opportunities from the T.A. Marishaw Community College in the south to the H. Laverty Community College in the north. While many of the courses overlap, there are several areas covered at each of these institutions that are not covered at the others. Some, for example, specialize in agriculture and information technology, while others specialize in health and natural sciences, with all specializing in the social sciences and education. Students should be encouraged to consider the tertiary level institutions throughout the OECS as options for post-secondary education. Further, it must be added that in reports on higher learning within the OECS, there is often the glaring omission of the resources and opportunities that are available to the people of this region through the University of the West Indies Open Campus. An article entitled, "Small Islands, Big Challenges, the OECS Consults with the World Bank on Growth Challenges and the Financial Crisis" begins. While the global economic crisis has hit most countries hard, the small island developing states of the Caribbean have been dealt a particularly hard blow. The impact of the recent global economic crisis on the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States countries and much of the Caribbean has been severe. Emerging at this time in St. Kitts on March 3, 2008, and formally launched in Antigua on July 2, 2008, during the 29th meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of the CARICOM community, was the UWI Open Campus, Oriens Ex Occidente Lux, a light shining from the west. This is our campus. The UE Open Campus is a direct response to calls from the OECS and other formerly non-campus territories to be better served by the UWI. With the establishment of the UWI Open Campus, our students have greater access to higher education, a reality that can and should lead to a higher percentage of school leavers in the OECS accessing post-secondary education. While we understand and agree that it is best when the OECS student is able to get the exposure of studying and residing in another island or country, we also recognize that many of our school leavers cannot leave the island in which they reside to pursue further studies. As aptly phrased by Jane Bennett, head of UE Open Campus Countryside Belize, education development translates into human capital and thereby economic development. The UE Open Campus is therefore significantly contributing to a deeper, stronger economic union by creating opportunities at all levels of post-secondary education for students within the OECS. As students can pursue this education without leaving their country of permanent residence, this also means that the following benefits to the economy accrue. Employees remain in their jobs. Employers benefit from open campus students being able to immediately apply skills on the job as they learn. The public sector does not have to finance study leave with pay and employ a replacement. Mature students can continue to finance their loans, mortgages, and other commitments. There is an immediate reduction in the number of scholarships and student loan funds sent abroad, and all student fees are plowed right back into the region. In addition to these benefits, and again in the spirit of true partnership, there are teams of individuals within each of the OECS countries that are dedicated to working with local stakeholders to provide a service to the people of our countries to enable them to reach their full potential. In addition to our degree programs, we provide in-house and on-site professional development training for private and public sector companies. We provide academic counseling services to students, and we facilitate information sessions for secondary school staff and students. In fact, in St. Kitts and Nevis, we recently agreed to partner with the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College when we speak to secondary school students so that they can get an enhanced understanding of what is available to them on island. Like you, we are committed to the development of this economic union. Contrary to public belief and discussion, the UE is not the University of Jamaica, Trinidad, and Barbados. It is the University of the West Indies, and the open campus is our campus. With your support, we can continue to close the gaps between the education and labor demands. We can continue to do a better job of serving the people within our communities, and we can significantly contribute to a deeper, stronger economic union. Our campus principal, Professor Hazel Simmons MacDonald, is a proud St. Lucian, as is the chairman of our campus council, Sir K. Dwight Venner, who resides right here in St. Kitts. We have had 3 graduation ceremonies since the formal establishment of the UE Open Campus, and all have been in the OECS, St. Lucia, Grenada, and Antigua, and the 4th will be held right here in the Royal Ballroom at the St. Kitts Marriott Resort. It opens out to 3 times its size. All right. Of all the jobs I have had, none have been as rewarding as this one. I feel honored and privileged to work alongside individuals within the region who, among other things, are passionately committed to the success of this economic union. I am equally inspired by the interest and support we have received from our stakeholders in St. Kitts, who tell us where we are doing well and where we can do better in an effort to help us get there. Over the course of the next 2 days, those of you gathered here who will be actively participating in the working sessions will engage in discussions that will chart our way forward, that will ensure that policies are put in place to enable us to succeed, to rise to our full potential. It was with you in mind that I draw reference to a quote from the pens of Sir Philip Sherlock and Sir Rex Nettleford. 1st February, 1947. Thomas Taylor opens the first office of the University College of the West Indies. There was no ceremony, no fanfare. That would come later, at the formal inauguration. A starkly simple beginning with 3 or 4 prayers read in the presence of Taylor's wife, Georgina, the only member of the faculty. Philip Sherlock, Sylvia Dunkley, and the sole secretary, and Granville Erard, the college's first ever driver. Then, a brief reminder that it was our task to set about establishing in the West Indies a place of light and learning. So, on with the work. My colleagues in education, as you draw on your moral and intellectual power to provide further solutions to the challenges we face in the OECS, remember what you have already accomplished, and that the contribution you make is not measured by the quantity of time spent doing it, but by the quality of what is produced. And so, on with the work. Thank you.